Let's learn.
I don't know how to play anything, dude.
Let's learn how to play Romanticizing.
You get crazy with it.
Moved out, unexpected to a new path, new direction. Well, the nights became later, our love weekly greater. And your eyes were covered.
I'm always wanting to leave. I'm always wanting to leave and think that there's like something better out there, and granted there probably is some adventure and things that are calling me, but also like it just makes me feel ungrounded and I'm like not able to appreciate what's going on, and I should. And when I'm like so focused on where I'm going, I'm like so fixated on the future, I'm not present, and then I feel like I'm losing time. So I'm like, why don't you just be more grounded, and then you'll have more time and you'll appreciate things more.
You'll find more time if you're having more gratitude for all the settings that you have to yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not trying to live somewhere else.
He's writing from the perspective of the court. Now Shakespeare in his plays, the ones that we have read, the Henriads, they're called the Henriads, a bunch of plays about kings. Anyways, I wrote a whole essay on it. I just sent it over. It's like,
Something that I love about living in Portland is the great late night talks with my good friends. Here, Luis and I discussed our separate journeys, establishing ourselves as the poets we had long talked about becoming. He reflected on his journey going down the path of academia, which was better suited for him, as he already spoke like a tenured professor. On the other hand, I had decided to go another route, choosing instead to let the world be my school and let life provide me the lessons I needed to become the writer I wanted to be. Regardless of our journeys, we were just having a sort of check-in with each other and talking about literature and our plans.
I feel like I've always seen your potential, but I'm seeing you live up to it. I see you like stepping into it.
about time.
And it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that you're aligning a lot.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're aligning?
Yeah, ever since Pisces season, baby. I've been aligning.
The sun in the morning and new days are done, and you look out your window and see yourself walking through fields of love and the sky above. It's when
Dude, life is crazy. I wish that I could bring all my friends along, because it's so fun. You know?
Can't always.
I know.
They do
And it's not, it's like a little special too. It's just a journey. And I'm like, it's just so, I'm so enamored by life. Even like all like,
Wide-eyed a little bit.
yeah, like even the really bad parts, I'm like, what is this teaching me? Like, what is going on here? And
I love that.
I'm like really trying to allow myself to experience all of it.
Good. Good.
So I was just thinking as I was getting ready that like this little experiment that I'm doing to really romanticize my life and be more present, I really think that it's going to alter my brain chemistry and make me a lot more happier, because I'm just being more present and being more grateful for every little thing that's happening in my life and everything that I have access to and I can do. So for example, my roommate is a vinyl DJ and she plays a lot of cumbia and salsa. And I'm thinking like, I'm a woman in my 20s, I'm single and I'm young, and like my roommate is a vinyl DJ. Why would I not take advantage of going to one of her gigs? So I'm doing that. I'm dressing up and I'm about to go out with my friends and meet up with them. They just got engaged, and so I was like, we should go out. And my roommate, she was like, I can reserve a spot for you, so that's what we're gonna do. Reserved a spot, a little booth for us.
Blow on it, it just goes. I think
It's gonna start coming out pink or blue.
A staple of living in Portland is visiting all of its coffee shops and thrift stores. This day, my friend CJ and I met up to do some co-working together and then thrifted. CJ is literally an angel and the queen of romanticizing life in Portland, so I feel very inspired by her.
Not with all the cynicism.
I'm currently in an Ashtanga apprenticeship. That's primarily my practice is Ashtanga. I've been practicing for 3 years, but now I'm learning how to teach it. This is just the studio that I practice at, and it's such a huge part of my life. And one of the reasons why I love living here, and it's also like so close to my house, so it's always a beautiful walk to get here, and this is one of the biggest parts of my life is being here. But I'm gonna do some pranayama, I'm gonna meditate, and then I'm gonna do shavasana, and I'm gonna head out.
She's fixing our mistakes.
Portland was a place where I began to cultivate my voice and my identity as a writer, as I spent much of my time living there, writing the poems that would end up in my debut poetry chapbook, Eurydice. A large part of my final months were spent creating 108 copies by hand with help of some friends and the staff at the IPRC. It's a project that I'm really proud to have done because it took a lot of courage to put myself out there in this way, to have faith in my creative vision, and to see it through. And because I think honestly that this book is just really visually beautiful.
Please?
Yeah.
Oh no, we were just FaceTiming.
Oh, okay. Okay. Is this the monster?
Okay. It's pull it up this way.
Okay. Oh. I'm so proud of you. I'm just a crybaby. This is so cool. Is it everything you envisioned?
Yes, dude, it's literally exactly how I envisioned it.
This is so fucking cool.
I have to cut this. I'm taking it to the tomorrow to get cut on the guillotine, like the industrial size.
The big guys? Yeah.
Yeah, so I can have a perfect cut, and then I'll be ready to give it to my dad tomorrow
Oh.
for Father's Day.
Oh. Has he seen these pictures or no?
No.
Okay.
The weight of the world is love, but we carry the weight wearily, and so must rest in the arms of love at last, must rest in the arms of love. I am currently at the river. I am just journaling. And something that I've been journaling on is the fact that this transition that I'm experiencing in the end of my era in Portland is actually leading way to a whole new life, and that's not something that I really contemplated. I think I've kind of been a little bit more stuck on endings. I'm a Taurus, so endings and change is notoriously pretty hard for me. My family has been telling me that, but I've just been so resistant to it, mostly because I think that the initiation of this change has really been making me value the life that I have here, despite so many years resisting wanting to be here and knowing that this isn't where I want to end up and that this is just a temporary period of my life. This initiation of change is making me look at the life that I have here and be like, wait, there's actually so much beauty in my life. And I've been really focusing on that, especially with this video of like romanticizing my life out here. And I'm like, damn, I love my friends, I love my family, I love my community, I love the earth and the lands, like look at where I am. But today I realized that there's a whole new life emerging from this ending, and that is something worth being excited about. It's something worth being excited about, that I get to experience something all new and that my whole life is changing, but at the same time it's transitioning to something that I've called in for such a long time, and I'm starting to see everything that I wanted manifest before my eyes. And one of them is to travel and to see the world and to write and to take photos and document and create. And it's just letting go of one thing in order to embrace something completely new. And for that, maybe there isn't really a reason to be sad. I go into this in greater detail in my newsletter. The link for that can be found in the description below. But essentially, it's this. This ending to me was a period of mourning the person that I had been so I can become the person that I'm wanting to be. It was a death cycle, but I'm no stranger to death. In fact, given my experience, I know that it could be something worth celebrating. It felt like the entire summer was leading up to the Eurydice launch party, which was graciously hosted by and at the Rhizome, and featured a photography exhibit by Marcel, who took the photos for the chapbook. This event also featured the poems and live music of other artists, but the night was a little hectic for me, so I wasn't able to get footage of that. In short, Eurydice was a poetry project in which I contemplated death from heartache and familial loss. I was able to explore the classic Greek myth of Eurydice's fateful descent into the underworld and combine it with the beliefs and customs of my Mexican heritage, which honors death, to both process my grief and celebrate the passing of my loved ones, as you can see from the ofrenda behind me, which featured photos of my recent departed family members, which also included my paternal grandfather, in which I wrote the following poem about. Abuelo muerte, if I am to die tonight, leave the door open, so the reaper may not struggle through the window, rattling the panes like a windstorm, and frightening my family, celebrating at my bedside.
I think that is probably my top 3 of the collection, and it's probably the shortest also. Now that Eurydice is published and the party is over, it just feels natural that my time in Portland is coming to an end, and I immediately began packing and getting rid of most of my belongings to prepare for a backpacking trip, which I am embarking on for several months around Asia.
You were a wonderful experience.
You were everything.
I'm not gonna cry. Even if I don't see you again, I'm gonna FaceTime you. Yes, let's do that. Bye. I love you. Love you.
I move out today. I am moving out of my apartment today. The title for this is Why I Love Portland and Why I'm Leaving. And up until this point, I've been talking so much about what I enjoy, and I've really used this to romanticize my life a little bit more and have greater appreciation for my life, knowing that I was about to embark on this journey and I was going to be leaving. I think that was to kind of counteract why I wanted to leave so much. The reason why I first moved back to Portland about 3 years ago after graduating from college was because I spent the majority of quarantine that whole year mostly by myself, living by myself, and I wanted to move back and be with family during a time where the world was facing so much uncertainty and I was about to soft launch into adulthood during a pandemic. I just thought it just makes the most sense for me to be near family because I feel like it's just the most secure thing at this moment. But it felt like within minutes of driving back into Portland, I just immediately did not want to be here. And ever since that moment, I felt so much apprehension about settling into the space, and I never quite felt ease being here because I just knew, one, I did not want to be here long term, and two, I was afraid that I would never be able to leave. It just fed my body so much anxiety, and I felt it so somatically because I literally couldn't physically leave this place because of the circumstances that I was in. I felt dissociated from my body all the time. This is my body's way of responding to the immense trauma that it is in. Like, this is my body's way of saying that I am so incredibly stressed out. I did find moments of joy. I found really great friends. I've had great experiences, but there was just this underlying sense of dissatisfaction and dis-ease, and I always felt it in my mind and in my body, and I'm feeling so emotional about it just saying it. Secondly, Portland is just kind of a karmic trap. And I say this as somebody who's actually from here. So for me, there is this additional baggage that comes with living here because the trauma, I just associate so much of living here with, again, when I was a kid and I felt trapped and I was like, oh man, I can't leave the situation that I'm in. And so being back here again as an adult after having done so much healing, I sense that again. And to me, it is my karma. It's like a karmic trap. And I find myself struggling in ways that I've struggled before when I lived here initially as a child and teenager before I went off to college. It's just a karmic trap, and it's also been quite enlightening and brought me a lot of clarity to see all of my samsaras and my learned behavior and how these are so attached to like old programming and old conditioning. Living in Portland is just not a healthy environment to me. I just don't like living in a city. I went from living in like kind of rural, suburban, mountain town, which was really quiet and it was very small community. Lots of access to so much nature, to like being plopped in the middle of a city and feeling so overwhelmed by how much noise and pollution that there is. I don't like it. I'm just not a city girl. I've come to realize that, and it's just made me even further uncomfortable because I just am a very sensitive person, and for me, I just need to have greater connection with earth and nature. And granted, going to other cities as much as I have in this past couple years, I realize that we are pretty privileged, and having access to like Forest Park, all these rivers, and I just want my seclusion. Like, I just want unrestricted access to nature, and I just don't feel like I'm getting that. The other reason I'm leaving is because this lifestyle is no longer sustainable for me, and it's time to grow up. I kind of call this last 3 periods of my life the time of my life where I was exploring and developing and cultivating individuality and independence for the first time of my life. And this was really about a time of being young and exploring myself and making friendships and reconnecting to my family, and also pursuing my writing and my yoga career and partying. It's just not a sustainable life anymore. It's like, what, do I stay here and continue to do that? And if I continue to do that, my life will always just be that, and I'll never progress and become the person that I want to become. And therefore, I will never do the things that I want to do. And I've also come to realize that it's time to grow up. Like, I am about to enter my Saturn return. I feel the shadow, I feel the weight of it moving in and the pressures of growing up. And I hear that calling of, okay, it's time to really focus on who do you want to be, and realize who you are now, and meet this future version of myself. Finally, I am just being called to farther away lands. I feel like I've always felt there's something else out there, but the opportunity began to present itself more in this last year. And I realized that it's just best for my well-being, for my career, for my writing, and my health, that I just travel and seek a life somewhere else. And with that being said, I don't know if or when I'll be back. And now it's time to go elsewhere to search new opportunities and find new teachers and seek greater experiences. Thank you so much for watching this and being a part of my life here in Portland. This has made me feel so much more settled, and I know that it's time to go. I love Portland, but I'm leaving, and I feel called to leave. And it's always going to be here, and I will visit, but it's just time for me to go.
I hope that I was able to make my love for Portland abundantly clear and not leave it off on a negative note as I spoke on my own personal reasons for leaving, or make this place seem bad in any way. It's just that the end of my chapter in Portland is closing for a while, and I'm taking off to explore the world. Already I have gone off, and there will be so much to share with you very, very soon. So please do keep in touch and follow along on the journey, and I'll be sure to write to you.
Molina walking down the line back towards old Portland town where she left her fortunes. Some say she went there never to be seen again.